here it states graph by finding points or finding solutions again. Notice I have two different ones here. I have the first one is y equals 3. A little tip that I want to give you that you might forget. It's very easy to forget this, but if you notice this first one, y equals 3, you don't need an x and y table to figure it out. Notice there is no x value in this problem at all. It just says y equals 3. So because there's no x value at all, it's telling you that the x can be anything you want it to be. It doesn't matter what the x value is. The only thing that matters is that the y value is 3. So when you think about it, if we go over here to my grid, on my y-axis, here's my y value of 3. This first one is just saying the y value has to be 3. So this y value is 3, this y value is 3, this y value, all of these points that I'm marking right here on the grid, if you'll notice, all of these points, let's take this one for example. The x coordinate is 9, but the y value is 3. Anytime you have to plot something where all it says is y equals something, then you go to that y value on the y-axis and you draw a line straight across like this. Because the x value doesn't matter. The x value can be anything, but the y value must be 3. It's going to be a horizontal line. On the other end of the spectrum, we have this one. The next equation, completely different equation. I just didn't want to make two different videos. This one says graph this line. So this is a different one. Let me write that here. Graph also. Graph by finding points. We really don't need to find points. What it says is x is equal to -4. Notice once again, it doesn't have both an x and a y variable in this equation. All it states is that the x has to be -4. So in this case we can't choose different values for x because we're specifically being told x has to be -4. The y value is irrelevant here. It doesn't matter what the y value is because it doesn't affect my problem. But the x value has to be -4. So we go to our x-axis. Here's my x-axis. We go to -4. It's right there. And get all the points that have an x value of -4. That would be all of these points right here. Every single point that you see me marking right now has an x value of -4. And according to this, the x value must be a -4. The y value doesn't matter. That's why we have all these different, I went off track. That's why we have all these different y values that you see here. But if you choose any point on this grid, like that one, the coordinates of that point, the x is -4, the y is, I don't know, something like -7. But it doesn't matter. When you substitute it into the problem, you're going to substitute a -4 for x, a y, there's nowhere to substitute it. It tends to be confusing for students, I understand that, but just try to keep in mind that if you do not see two variables in the equation, it's either going to be a horizontal or a vertical line. They're easy to graph as long as you know what to look for. If it says y equals 3, then go to the y at 3 and go straight across it. If it says x equals -4, go to the x-axis, go to -4 and go straight through it. Now if you have an equation that says y equals something with an x, then make yourself an x and y table and figure it out.